Okay, programming 11, we were talking about creating stars that have colors in them. Right now, they look like this, which look very lovely. But what if we want each individual star to be a different color? Where would you put that code? Hopefully, you've given it a try and given it some thought. Because I think just watching it without trying it and thinking about it and failing a few times or many times is not going to be very useful because you're not going to enjoy the solution if you don't sort of understand the puzzle a bit more. So I'm assuming you have done that, and so we're going to talk about the answer. And you might have tried many different things. You might have tried to fill inside of the draw function. You might have tried to fill inside of setup. All sorts of different places. You might have tried to fill inside of star. So I think star is the right answer. And if you were wondering where are they getting colored, it's right here. This is the fill, right here. That's coloring the stars. So you might have decided to put in a random color here. So, random 255, random 255, random 255 would have created a random color, but look what happens. They're like constantly twinkling. They're all sorts of different colors because every frame we're changing their colors or randomizing the colors over and over again, which isn't really what I expected. But I just want to try something because that looks so cool. I wanted to like give it even less. How does this look? Oh my gosh, it's sort of matrixy, kind of like the Matrix, except it has to be shades of green. Oh, crazy! How trippy is that? Hey. Okay, okay. So let's get rid of that. That's silly stuff. So now I'll leave it 100. I kind of like 100. So now I know this isn't quite the right answer, but it's not far away. I do need to fill with a different color. But the thing is that I want them to be consistent. So what I need to do is I need to create instance variables so each star remembers its color. I think that's the key thing to understand about instance variables. Instance variables are the data that each star keeps track of. So if you want to have a consistent color, it's got to keep track of that information. So I'll make a red, green, and blue. Actually, let's make a hue, saturation, and brightness variables. And on setup, I'm just going to jump over. I'm going to set color mode to HSB. We have talked about this a while ago, but just to remind you what HSB is, if I use my color selector, I'll just remind you that so we have red, green, and blue numbers to control what our colors are. But we also have hue, saturation, and brightness numbers, where hue is sort of like this axis, like what kind of color is it? Saturation is this axis, so is it like really bright, or is it kind of washed out, or is it completely faded out? And then brightness is the vertical axis of like how dark is it? Is it really dark at the bottom here, or is it quite bright and vibrant at the top? So there's sort of three different things we can control color with HSB color mode. So I'm going to make a hue, a saturation, and a brightness. And actually, I'll probably keep a lot of these the same. So why don't I choose hue to be a random number between 0 and 255. Now, unfortunately, h is an int, so I'm going to have to intify this. So I'm going to wrap this in an int. It'll just basically chop off the decimal. So the int function turns that into, once it's randomly created, into an int, so I can stick it in the right place. And then saturation, I'll make maximum saturation, very bright, and brightness will be, wait, I don't know if I use that word correctly, but it'll be maximum brightness here, maximum saturation, maximum brightness. And then what I can do is I can then fill with hue, saturation, brightness. So now these numbers will be the same every time unless I change it for that color, for that star. So each star will get their own individual color. Oh, it looks so good. That looks so cool. I love it. I love it. So that's a nifty thing to create. Yeah, I think that's a pretty cool thing. Let's see, what else can we do? So that's giving each star an individual. Each star is now given some kind of individual color. What if we now wanted to give it, let's see, what should we do? What if we wanted to, I don't know, I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss for like cool new things to do. It's just so pretty. Look at it. Look at it, so pretty. It's down here. Oh, man. It looks so neat. Oh, here's an idea. What if we wanted our stars to get bigger as they went down the screen? What if we wanted to increase their size somehow? So you can experiment that with a bit. I'm gonna keep going with this video, but try that out. Go pause me right now and try it out. So I've assumed you paused me now. I'm gonna go and do the answer. So where would you have it so that it changes its size? It's going to actually be in its act function. So this is sort of the things that it does. So what if I said size equals size plus 0.1? So it's going to get bigger and bigger. And then also, I'd probably want to reset size when I go back to the top again. So I could say size equals, what did I have before? Oh yeah, back to VY, I guess. So when it gets to the bottom of the screen, it will reset itself. So let's see. This is the act function we've changed, and now the stars are getting bigger as they get to the bottom. Unfortunately, some of them are very slow, so they're kind of breaking a little bit. The tiny ones are getting so much bigger as they go. So we got this kind of mess of fast stars that are kind of underneath the slow stars. All the illusions of are breaking now, but it's pretty neat. We got quite the mess of things happening. That's for sure. I like. You could also try to change the x direction and give it some cool sort of x velocities and stuff like that. That might be interesting to do. The size is fine. I wonder if we maybe increase it fast. No, faster is worse. Maybe not quite so much each time. So that barely is noticeable, actually. We're barely noticing any sort of change whatsoever. But that's okay. It's still pretty nifty. I don't know. I'm tempted to do like this. Oh my gosh, this is going to be wild. Look out. Oh! What have we done? What have we done? What's that line from Jurassic Park that's like, they were too busy trying to see if they could to ask the question of whether they should. Well, we shouldn't have done this. We've created some wild stuff. Anyways, you can also create more and more wild stuff. And I recommend that you go and play with this code a bit and see what kind of cool things you can do. Try to make the stars go left and right, or go straight up, or maybe on a diagonal motion. Experiment with this code, try out different things, see what else you can create. Okay? Thanks, Programming 11. Enjoy.